What if one treatment could sculpt your body, drain toxins, and leave you feeling lighter all in under an hour? That's the Tox. Welcome to Franchise Spotlight, where we showcase unique franchise opportunities that give you the chance to build wealth, create a legacy, and take greater control of your future. Today, we're exploring The Tox, a franchise that delivers lymphatic-based body sculpting and wellness services to an emerging market of health-conscious clients. Let's put the spotlight on The Tox.
My name is Courtney Yeager, and I'm the founder and CEO of The Tox.
I'm Ryan Yeager, co-founder and COO of The Tox.
My background has always been around health, wellness, and fitness. I always suffered from poor digestion, and I started doing research on the lymphatic system and realized how understudied it was in the US. And I started seeking out lymphatic treatments in LA, and I could not find anything. I just knew that it was something that I had to bring to fruition. And that's how The Tox was born.
So 4 years ago, my wife comes to me. She says, Ryan, I need $10,000. She's like, I need you to help me sign a lease. Instantly, I said, you're crazy. This isn't happening.
I went to my husband and convinced him that this was the best business idea ever. He thought I was completely crazy.
I told her to tell me a little more. So she told me her plan. She was so convinced in her head. I trust and support everything, every business decision she's ever done.
I wanted to create a studio vibe. I want to do away with the boring spa atmosphere and create that unique experience that's super curated from start to finish.
We opened our first location in Los Angeles. It was instant success.
We had every celebrity, every influencer knocking down our door, and I knew that it was something that we had to bring everywhere. My background has always been in marketing and branding, and I knew that social media was a route that I needed to take with this business. So I immediately started our social media pages, and it just blew up. Every influencer and celebrity were DMing us, and they made it really easy for us. But I feel super grateful to have that organic marketing right from the beginning. So that's really what launched our success. Because the Tox technique is so unique, I knew it needed a strong name. So I knew that I wanted something that would stand out. We were at our anniversary dinner. It just came to my head, and I was like, the name. It's The Tox, and that's final. It's crazy to me to think where we started and where we are today. We started with just one location, now we have 14. The branding has evolved so much. Everything is branded and executed perfectly, down to the black toilet paper. We have a full product line with over 40 SKUs that our customers are coming in for. Starting a company is never easy. There's always challenges, but to be able to do it together and be able to have my husband and my children by my side has been the all-time high of the whole journey.
I have all the confidence in the world in my wife and Courtney. Anything she does, anything she touches, always seems to, be incredible. So I'm her biggest fan.
We have moved from the West Coast now to the East Coast. I've traveled the whole United States with my kids with me. My daughter knows how to set up a full location. They have their favorites. It's really just amazing to see, and something that I would have never dreamed that this is where we would be 4 years later.
I am thrilled to be joined today by Gabby Sacco, the Director of Franchise Development from Franchise Fastlane. She's responsible for the growth and development of The Tox. So Gabby, welcome to our Franchise Spotlight segment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. I am so thankful for this opportunity. I cannot wait to talk more things about The Tox, who we are, what we do, all things lymphatic related in the health and wellness industry. So thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, that's exciting stuff. So let's dive into this. Not everyone has heard of The Tox yet, but I'm guessing that with its explosive growth, they're going to soon know about it. Can you break it down a little bit for us, the concept, what you do, and who your core customer is?
So we are a luxurious wellness concept. What the Tox is, it's a lymphatic-based body sculpting treatment that specializes in detoxing your lymphatic and your digestive system. So you get physical and also internal benefits from it. From the physical side, clients are looking more lean and more contoured, sculpted, in that 60 or 90-minute session. And then from the internal side, they get less inflammation, less bloating, and also overall just improvements in their digestion. So it's a look good, feel good treatment. We're not medical related, so that's something that we stay away from. It's more results driven.
Okay, great. So to be really clear, people will go to the Tox to look better and feel better, but they're not there to get diagnosed by a doctor and have some prescribed treatment. That's what we're looking for.
Correct.
All right, good,
Exactly.
Good. All right, great. Well, everybody wants to look and feel better, so I'm sure you'll have plenty of customers. So
I agree.
yeah. So in wellness, though, Gabby, competition's everywhere, right? We see med spas, there's fitness studios, gyms, there's all sorts of things, right? What makes the Tox stand out? Why would someone want to align with this brand if they're in the wellness and fitness and weight loss world?
Yeah, so I would say the Tox really stands out because we are the first to market in the lymphatic drainage service category. So there's no other franchise concept that does what we do to date. You may see like a one-off med spa that does something like this, but where they're doing this like 2 to 3 times a week, we're doing this 5 to 6 times a day per technician. So we are the masters and the pioneers of what we do.
Nice. Okay. So very experienced to get really good at it, and it's very unique in the wellness space. I love it.
Yep.
So we think about, who succeeds in a franchise like this, right? Every franchise, every business has a sweet spot when it comes to ownership. What types of people thrive with the Tox? Like, what qualities does it take to be a winner with it? And what might indicate if somebody's not the right fit? Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we are looking for franchisees that have passion in the health and wellness industry. I would say 3 main things that we're looking for is communication skills, leadership skills, and also accountability. So the technicians, the staff under the Tox, they are going to make or break your studio. So we really want to find an owner that can really build that strong foundation in their studio so they can become very successful. So I would say that owners that this may not be a right fit for owners would be ones that are not able to communicate and get out into their local community and really build those relationships with one another.
Okay. Would you say that sales, marketing skills are important, or is it networking skills? Or it sounds like you have to be a people person to be a good owner of the Tox.
Yeah, I would say sales and networking, it's not like a main requirement for us, but to be, like you said, a people person and very relatable and personal so people can be drawn to you in your studio.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the role of the owner and the kind of the lifestyle that the owner would live. Talk about the day-to-day, right? So is the Tox best run by somebody who's a hands-on operator, an executive leader, a semi-absentee owner? Like, what does a typical owner look like?
Yeah, so I would say the vast majority of our franchisees go back and forth between that owner-operator model and executive model. So we do want them to be more hands-on, especially within the first couple months, maybe like 3 to 6 months before they start scaling that second, third, and fourth location. So it's really important to put that time into the business, building those relationships, and then maybe hiring that general manager to take over as that owner-operator role, so then you can start focusing on growing.
So Gabby, it sounds like your best owners are ones who are going to be actively involved in the day-to-day as they launch their first site. Even if they were a multi-unit operator, there's a development schedule associated with that. It's not you open 3 units at once. You open one, scale it up, get it running, you get your manager on board, and then you go focus on growing out the other ones. Is that how it works?
Yes, exactly. And you can even see in our FDD as well, in the item 19, all of those outlets that are in there are all ran by a general manager. So it's possible to hire a general manager right off the bat, but ideally we really want those owners that are more present and local in their community to get even more successful than the numbers that you see in that FDD.
Okay. So I love that. Thanks for clarifying that. So talk a little bit about the difference in responsibilities between the general manager and the owner, because they're not just going to check out and go play golf all the time, right? They're going to I mean, unless they really want to. But
Yeah.
what are the difference in roles and responsibilities between the general manager and, say, the executive owner?
So for the executive owner is more so having that flexibility of where they want to put their foot within the business. So let's say they hire a manager for the front desk, and then they're going out into the community, building relationships with fitness, health, wellness, and beauty concepts. So think like the Orange Theories or Solid Cores or Pure Bars, anything in that industry to really get the name out there and educate people about lymphatic health, because that's going to be very, very important. Now, for the general manager side, that general manager is going to be taking over an owner operator responsibility, meaning the general managers are responsible for stocking the inventory, making sure the financial performance is running up to speed on what we need them to hit when it comes to a benchmark perspective. And then if you are more so owner operator or hands-on, you as that franchisee are going to be taking ownership over that day to day and being in the front office for 40 hours during that week.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Very good. Well, let's talk a little bit about the market for wellness, right? Wellness is booming, but not every concept scales in the same way, right? So where's the Tox in its growth journey? Like what markets are you in? What are you opening up? And how could a candidate evaluate whether their own area is really a good fit for it?
Yeah, so we're really in this responsible growth stage right now to make sure that we are awarding territories in a very efficient way. So we're constantly pausing markets to make sure that these locations get up and running, rather than you see in the franchising industry, you oversaturate a market and it's just not successful for the franchisor. So we're constantly getting on the calls and making sure that we're pausing markets if need be. But some markets that we really do want to target are the bigger markets and also the smaller markets too. So how we find a viable territory is a couple of demographics and stats that we look for. So population, 100,000 people or a 3-mile radius, whichever's lesser of the two. We have median household income. So we're trying to find those clients that have that disposable income that will pay for a luxurious treatment like this. And then females over the age of 24. We want that over a specific number. That territory also needs to be around those fitness studios, the health studios, wellness, whatever it may be, because that real estate that we find for that territory is going to be in the center of all of those locations, to make sure that we're finding great locations for you as we hold your hand throughout that process. And they're going to be in that Plaza Strip Center next to all of those health and wellness concepts.
So I really like what you said there about, you're trying to land in the middle of all the other concepts, right? You don't really view that as competition. That's the sign of a healthy, active fitness and wellness market, and you want to be in the middle of it because it breeds success there.
Exactly. We
Nice.
want to collaborate with them. We don't want to compete with them. Again, nobody does what we do. So we want to form an actual event with these alike businesses, because their client base is very similar to what ours is going to be, which is why that relationship is so important.
Good. No, thank you for sharing that. Let's talk a little bit about the resilience and the risks of the Tox as a wellness concept. Franchise candidates, clients of mine, they want to know how a brand weathers change, right? How has the Tox performed through, say, economic shifts? If ups and downs in the economy, is this a luxury? Does it take a nosedive during times of economic uncertainty, or how has it performed?
Yeah, so we opened in 2019. That's when the founder, Courtney Yeager, opened her first location. And then obviously COVID
What happened in
that
2020?
year.
Oh,
yeah,
COVID,
nobody
that's right.
knows.
Yeah,
it was nothing,
Goodness.
right?
Yeah.
So 2019, she opened her first location. And then in 2020, COVID happened, and she really pivoted and started to focus on her retail line that she has. So that's the Tox Shop, and we have about 80 to 90 proprietary products that we have. They're all natural, toxin free. They range from like lotions, serums, tox debloating teas, gummies. She started with about 30 to 40 products before she started to franchise, and now has grown that line up to about 80 to 90 different products. So constantly pivoting on that route. Now 7% of the revenue to date does come from the retail side. So in 2020, she really leaned in and focused on that. But people were really knocking down the doors and saying, like, we want this treatment because we need to improve our health and our wellness. And people were freaking out about it during that time. So she ended up opening her doors, and clients were coming in even though we had to wear masks, and people were really cognizant on how you shake hands, touch people, whatever it may be, the crazy stuff. We were able to operate, and if it tells you anything, in 2020 she opened 6 locations after that. So it's definitely COVID proof, pandemic proof. And then after that, she opened about 4 or 5 more, started to franchise. She started off with 12 corporate locations, and today we are at 112 awarded locations with about 38 that are open and operating today.
Wow, yeah, and that's relatively new, right? I mean, if someone looks at your 2025 FDD, it shows 6. So a lot of these that were awarded last year have now come online. Is that correct?
Yep. Exactly, yeah. So on our FDD, those are the locations that have been open for a year or more. The majority of the franchisees just opened like middle of last year to the beginning of this year, so we don't have a full year just yet.
Got it. Okay. No, I think, again, we talked about the explosive growth, and that's just evidence of it, right? All this happening. That's terrific. Let's talk a little bit more about the investment here. The reality, what's the high level investment range for opening the Tox studio?
Yeah, so our item 7 is really broken down. It's very detailed, very transparent. On there, it reflects what a single territory is, which is anywhere from 258,000 to 448,000.
Okay. All right. So as far as opening a studio location, it sounds like this isn't a large, expansive space that somebody would need to plan to rent. Is that correct?
Well, they would lease the location, but it isn't some huge build out. Our build outs are very simple. They're not complex. We look for a space anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. We do have some locations that are on the lower end of like 1,300 square feet, but we need to make sure that they hold about 4 to 6 treatment rooms to have a very successful studio within there. So we try to find that white box shell on the inside with a ceiling structure to support the curtains that divide each of the treatment rooms. So the build out's very simple that way, because we're not building treatment rooms and walls around those locations like you would see in a typical massage type setting, and that's why we can get up and running within an average of what we've been seeing, about 8 months. But we've seen franchisees open within like 5 months before, and then corporate locations anywhere from about 30 to 60 days they've been able to get up and running. So it's really impressive.
Absolutely. It's a brick and mortar location, but the size of this location, like you said, 1,300, 1,500, 2,500 square feet. Yeah, that's very reasonable, which is why that investment range isn't up over $1 million like many brick and mortar locations would be, right? So, okay, good. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Now we think about franchise investments, right? The reason somebody would franchise and buy into a franchise instead of starting their own studio is to get all the lessons learned, the support, the training, the tools, right? Talk to us a little bit about what do new owners of the Tox receive when it comes to training tools and ongoing support?
Yes, so the moment that they get onboarded, they have access to our Tox University, which is our LMS platform that we use. So these are all the different tools and the resources that they need to operate a successful studio. They also will go to a 9-day training. The technicians that they hire in New York City, we have a whole new built out Tribeca studio, and they're able to immerse themselves in a full experience from learning the technique, from also delivering great customer service and the education side of it. A lot of it is going to be them learning the sales aspect of it too, because the majority of their pay does come from tips and also the commission off the retail products that they sell. So they're
great.
learning all of that within a 9-day period. And then as the franchisee, they're going to be going through a 4-day in-person business operation side. So they'll be able to know what a really busy studio looks like before they even open their doors and go back to their studio.
Outstanding. So really excellent, fast start, thorough training, access to ongoing resources as you bring new people on board, correct? When you mentioned the technicians, and you'd mentioned earlier, this is not medical, so you're not looking for like RNs or anything, or probably even licensed massage therapists. What does a good technician look like? What kind of staff do you hire?
Yeah, so there's no federal requirements for body sculpting. That franchisee will have to check with their state's rules and regulations to see what those employees have to be certified under body contouring. But primarily what we are finding is licensed estheticians is what's working for us best.
Okay, great. So licensed estheticians, they have the right skill set typically. They probably are, lower cost resource than an RN, right? There's something like that. So that sounds like you've worked out the business model on that side.
Yeah. So it's definitely a lower operating cost. We're actually trying to find estheticians that come right out of school, because they're a lot more easier to mold when it comes with the technique. So if you hire a licensed massage therapist, let's say, they have 15, 20 years under their belt, and they try to implement their different modalities into the technique, and it's just a lot harder for us to train that way. So we've seen the most success with licensed estheticians, just brand new, no experience, coming out of school.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that and the reasons why. That makes a lot of sense. So as we get toward the end of our conversation today, Gabby, let's talk about why this is a good business. Bottom line, why is the Tox a smart business to own? It could be the margins, could be the recurring revenue, it could be scalability, exit potential, like whatever it is. What makes the Tox an attractive business for new owners?
Yeah, well, I would say 5 main things that always come top of mind for me. I know that's a lot, 5.
That's good.
But
Yeah,
there's just so many reasons why it's a great business. So number 1, like I kind of covered in the beginning of the podcast, is that we were first to market in the lymphatic drainage service category. Again, there's no competition out there. Second is our social media management platform that we have. So we have corporate that runs your whole entire Instagram for you. So we have a whole team that's back behind you. What we're doing is posting video and photo content to your pages. We're educating people about the lymphatic treatment that we're giving, and then also finding influencers from a nationwide or local level to come into your location every single month to promote the brand. So you could think of it like a 24/7 concierge service. So that's number 2. Number 3, I would say the lean staffing model. So less than 10 employees to operate a successful studio, anywhere from about 6 to 8, I would say.
Okay.
So a very lean staffing model. Number 4 is our Buildout. So anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 square feet to operate a successful studio. Again, we are walking you through the real estate process. It is a very emotional experience, but we want to make sure that you are finding the perfect location for your market, because that is going to be the anchor to bringing in that business on a day-to-day. And then lastly, the numbers. So everybody loves the numbers. You can have the passion, but you also want the profit as well. But our profit margins are 25.8% on average, and those are net margins. So really strong numbers. The business model is absolutely great. It's booming, and we, I believe, are just getting started here. So
that's great. All those are fantastic reasons. So somebody who really has that right ownership profile, kind, compassion, loves people, loves wellness, really passionate about that, good at connecting in their local community, and can really build a team that can deliver this excellent luxury wellness service, have all those benefits, all that support you talked about, all that support with marketing, and it pays really well to boot. There's some good money to be made.
Exactly.
I love it. Now, just a couple of follow-ups on that. Of the 128 or so awarded territories, how many are multi-unit operators? How many people own more than one of the Tox?
Yeah, great question. So we have 57 franchisees to date. I would say about 85 to 90% of them are multi-unit operators with locations anywhere from 2 all the way to 5 locations. I would say our average falls between 2 to 3.
Gabby, this has been a great conversation. You've given us a lot of insight into what goes into the Tox and why it's a great business opportunity. But final takeaway, if someone leaves our conversation today remembering just one thing about the Tox as a franchise opportunity, what would you like that to be?
Well, I would say at the end of the day, the Tox is more than a treatment. It's a movement. It's about people looking good, feeling good, and also being a part of something that's creating a new category in wellness and beauty. So that's what I would leave you here with.
I appreciate that. And that is a special thing, right? In a saturated market that you might say that is wellness, to have a new treatment that people are really attracted to and are really are becoming raving fans of, I think that's a beautiful thing you have there. So thank you so much, Gabby, for taking time with us today on the Franchise Spotlight.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Did this spotlight spark your curiosity? Are you wondering how this opportunity could fit your future? Book a no-cost, no-obligation 20-minute conversation with me, and let's explore.